I'm so fucking good.
Most of you guys have probably seen this endgame already. It was an endgame from yesterday's solo cash cup. Mongraal won this game, and it was actually sincerely one of the most crazy endgames I've ever watched, mechanically, and just the amount of information he processes and how fast he does it. So I just wanted to showcase this endgame to you and sort of break it down and overanalyze this endgame for you guys, so you can understand every little detail that goes into Mongraal's head. But yeah, let's just hop into it. This is a really good angle. Something I want you guys to notice right away: Mongraal does not edit these walls in general. He tries to stay away from editing as many walls as he possibly can. In solos, editing walls, even just to look through them, is scary, especially when you're like in moving zones, right? Anytime you edit a wall, it reduces its HP by half, and especially if you reset it after, it reduces its HP by half again, right? So if any cost you want to avoid editing walls, and look down. Looking down is the best angle. If there's one direction that most Fortnite players are unaware of, it's the up direction, right? People don't really pay attention to the area above them in general. It's a natural human behavior. I feel like you tend to look forward and you tend to look down, but up is kind of difficult to pay attention to. So if you're Mongraal and you're trying to abuse the fact that people don't look up, you want to look down, and then you can look at people and they won't even know you're there. So that's one little concept. So Mongraal gets a really nice 104 damage on this guy off this angle that he's playing, and there you go. And he has a really good loot opportunity. However, something I really want to emphasize is the fact that every time you change layer, it's a new dimension, it's a new world, it's a new environment. You don't know what's happening on that layer, so you need to make sure every time you change layer, you sort of overbuild and make sure that you're covering every single angle. So what I would have suggested is, after Mongraal sees this loot and this guy dies, Mongraal needs to block off this angle, right? And then the wall back here as well. Okay, because actually what happens in this game is that someone takes a shot at Mongraal from that exact direction, and it's something that Mongraal could have easily avoided, knowing that like dropping onto a new layer is a dangerous environment. That's just a little detail that I wanted to mention. It could have saved him potentially a lot of HP if he does that sort of preemptive boxing. And he has a ton of mat. Like, there's no reason why he shouldn't do that. He does. I can't really see the mat count because of the quality, but he does have a ton of mat. So let's talk about his disengage after he gets hit, because this is a really good quality of Mongraal. Something he pays attention to is the fact that as soon as he gets hit, he just needs to full box. Don't be greedy. Don't just block off the back angle. Don't just block this off. Block off everything. Full box, right? Because the biggest thing that everyone, especially good players, especially pro players, people look for in endgame is any opportunity to third party. So other people that are in front of Mongraal right now notices this engagement that's happening between these two people. They think, okay, third party, I'm gonna look back and shoot Mongraal. Everyone starts looking at Mongraal, right? There's a whole bunch of attention on Mongraal and this enemy because it's a third party opportunity. That's what people are looking for in endgame. So because of that, Mongraal is like, I'm gonna full box. I'm just not gonna greed build shit at this point. Mongraal just fully blocked off that back angle and then blocked off his front as well. Something I want to bring up right away is the fact that Mongraal uses backward stairs a ton. And the reason for this, right, if we just make a diagram right here or draw a little bit of a picture, I can sort of explain why backwards ramps are much better than just full boxes without backwards ramp, okay? Color this in, you see the sort of ramp that I'm drawing, right? You'll notice that this ramp changes the amount of surfaces you could have previously got shot at from 6 surfaces down to 4 surfaces. So this surface right here, your roof gets completely safed. Like, now you don't have to worry about your roof, and now you don't have to worry about this back wall as well. Now you don't have to worry about this back wall. It's double layered, right? Don't have to worry about either of those. Only places you have to worry about is this left wall, this front wall, this right wall, and your floor. So instead of having to worry about 6 different directions, just because you placed a backwards ramp, you only have to worry about 4 now. Okay, and while that may not seem like a big difference, it is a big difference, because in solos, like, reducing the amount of directions you have to, you know, pay attention to or have awareness about is really good, because now you just only have to pay attention to these surfaces, and that's really good. So Mongraal in general just places stairs. They're really good. It blocks off 2 different directions at once with one build. And if you're trying to get out of a sticky situation like Mongraal is right now, like get through a bunch of builds that is like compromised or very dangerous to go through, backward stairs are a very good solution. As you see, he's getting chased, completely getting chased. He actually, unluckily, can't place this wall right here. If you watch it back, he gets into a position where the natural builds don't allow him to place this wall, right? And because of that, this enemy right here comes in and tries to pressure Mongraal. Something to note, Mongraal is very patient and doesn't try to edit out right away, right? Because this ramp in front of him is extremely low HP. So if Mongraal, let's say Mongraal decides to run out right now, what's gonna happen? What if the opponent just decides to pickaxe at that exact time? Mongraal's gonna get, you know, the stair broken. Because he's not holding it, he has to run to his right, and then what's gonna happen is that enemy's just gonna be able to shoot him, and it's just gonna be rough. So instead of running out right now while the stair is 1 HP, Mongraal waits until this is back to like right here. And the way to do that is either let the enemy break the stair one more time, right? Like hit pickaxe it one more time, and you're holding it, and with 0 ping, you're pretty confident that you're gonna be able to get that stair back, and then leave, or just break it yourself. Whenever you have low build, like a low wall in your box or a low stair, for example, you can just pickaxe, replace, and then you don't have to deal with a 1 HP wall or 1 HP build anymore. So Mongraal decides to let the enemy break it, and then he runs up. So that's a lot better option. Because as soon as you let him break it and then replace, it's a lot bigger of an HP bar. This is actually significant because now it's not 1 pickaxe. It's not in the range of 1 pickaxe. So then he just does that, gets out, backward stair again. Notice this wall's not his, gets out. He just edited and reset this one wall, so he's really scared of that, and because it's low again, he needs to edit this cone and double layer that side off, because that's the only side that he has to worry about. And the biggest thing that double layering that side does is that it motivates this enemy right here. It tells this guy like, hey, get off of me, you have nothing here, there's nothing here for you. I just double layered you off. The only option you have at this point is to just de-aggro, because even if you somehow take this wall, you still have to get through my cone. So this is really good that he double layers and sort of disengages from this enemy that's pressuring him here. So that's really good. You'll notice double layers, and then now the enemy just like runs away. It's a really good way to get people off of you is to show them like, hey, you have 2 layers to get through.
I'm the best one right here, and that's
super important. So something really good, let's watch it back one more time. Mongraal has all this cover right here, right? And he uses this cover to right hand peek. Uses all that cover to look at this guy. And this guy's moving left to right. Basically, Mongraal's gonna see this guy before he sees him. Pretty basic concept. He goes for that trade, hits him 116, and then disengages. Something you'll notice, the enemy actually shoots his pump, right? You can hear it, but you can also see it on the wall. The Mongraal resets, and then the enemy shoots the Mongraal's wall. And so why Mongraal should edit again and go after this guy is because he just created him 116, he's cracked, right? It's probably pretty low because most people in endgame are not exactly 200 HP, so he's probably actually lower than people think. And also, if you look at a timeline of shotgun shots really quickly, let's assume Mongraal shoots right here, he shot first, and then the enemy shot, right? So after the enemy shoots, if Mongraal edits out and then they both go to try to shoot again, who's gonna shoot first? Mongraal, because he shot initially first, so his fire rate is gonna allow him to shoot again faster than the enemy, right? The enemy shot is going to be available here. So if Mongraal should go for the trade because his shotgun shot is ready first. He should edit out after he catches the enemy shot, run out, and go after the trade again. I think Mongraal thought he killed him, and then he tries to run away. That's my only like conclusion. This section right here is a lot more crazy than people think. It's actually insane. Notice this, right? There's a wall he just edited right here, right? There's a wall that he just edited and turned it into this piece. Okay, he turns it into this. So after he runs in and then shoots this guy, for some reason, Mongraal knows this wall just broke. The enemy's right here, by the way. This is an enemy on the top of the ramp. He's shooting the wall. Somehow, Mongraal, in the middle of this engagement, just realizes this. He's fighting this guy completely, right? So, but he takes note of this guy. And he realizes that, like, as he's fighting this guy, now there's this wall that's available to place. He just placed that wall literally 1 second ago. But he somehow has the awareness to realize that this piece right here that Mongraal edited, like, it just broke. Now Mongraal is able to place this wall again, which is super important because he blocks a ton of damage while being low to like prevent his death, and then also pre-fires his enemy through that piece, just like that, and gets that kill. Like, that is actually mind-blowing. I'm not kidding. That was crazy. And then he abuses the backwards ramps, so sitting under a ramp again. He has a ramp in his box, and he has a ramp in the other box as well. Sees the bigs. He doesn't have bigs currently. He wants to get this. He actually notices through several builds, right? It's super hard to notice, but I don't know how, like, his awareness is super good, clearly. He sees this, right? There's Big standing there. He goes in that direction, gets the loot. So something really important to understand here is Mongraal is not crossing this line. He just doesn't want to cross this line. And the reason for that is he doesn't know what's happening over here. He has no clue, right? He doesn't know what's happening in this direction. So if that's the case, if we draw it out from a bird's eye view, these are the two boxes that he was in. He's sitting right here. He doesn't know what's happening right here at all. And so as he comes out, it's super most important thing to do is to not cross this line. You cannot cross this line, because as soon as you do, suppose Mongraal comes out and crosses that line, he's in danger of getting shot by a random enemy that's sitting out here, right? This enemy could shoot him and then Mongraal's dead. So he can't cross that line as he's picking up that loot. So the biggest thing to understand is like any sort of territory that you don't know what's happening, just try to avoid any possible way that you could get shot from that direction. I think pretty safely we can tell just from audio cues, just like I played Endgame before, right? Like, so I have a good sense of like audio cues and what it means. I don't think anyone's down here. That's just the sense that I get from the audio cues and what I'm listening to. I don't think there's anyone in this direction, but this direction we have no clue. It could be very long tunnel. If you want, someone could be sitting with an AR all the way at the end, or a shotgun literally right off screen. We have no clue. So we just have to respect that. And so Mongraal having that game sense and understanding that this is a big question mark in terms of like who's there, he doesn't want to cross this line that he has right here, right? He can pick up the loot without crossing that line, and that's really good, because it turns out there is someone over there, right? Someone just shot at his wall, so that's interesting. It saved his life. He's actually really low. He needs to do everything perfectly at this point. Something to notice right here, super important actually. I want you guys, I'm not going to talk in this section, okay? Just so because I want you guys to pay attention to the audio. Listen for AR shots, okay? You hear that new AR shot that exists right there? Right there. Okay, one more time. Right there. You hear that? So that new AR shot is a huge indication of, hey, someone could be spraying at you right now. You need to turn around and look in that direction to ensure that someone is not spraying at you. They could be spraying at someone else, right? But you don't know. You need to look in that direction and actually just clear that doubt from your head, right? Is he spraying at me? Let me just go check. And if he's not, then cool. If he is, I need to hold the wall, because I could just be taking completely free damage. In endgame, it's really hard to pop bigs, right? If you lose this sort of HP, this section of your HP, it's really hard to recover back that HP, because bigs are difficult to pop in endgame. The biggest thing people do in solos that is a huge mistake in endgames, and actually ends up costing a lot of their games, is the fact that they take free damage, free AR damage, when they could just avoid it by being a little bit more aware with audio cues and sort of like which directions they're looking in. They need to just hold the walls that need to be held, okay? And just make sure that you do not take any sort of unnecessary free damage. Those are like just chip damages that happen over time. It could happen 2 or 3 times throughout the end game, and then it will whittle you down to like 30-40 HP, and then you get into a new shotgun engagement and you just lose because you're so low. There's just no way you're winning that fight, right? So it's super important to just not take free damage, and Mongo's so good at this. We'll watch it one more time just so you guys understand how quickly he reacts to this. Right, he hears that AR shot and just reacts to it. And it's super important to be good at like picking out that extra AR shot that sounds odd in the middle of all this chaos. A lot of intermediate to beginner players don't really pay attention to audio in endgame, right? It's not just footsteps. There's a lot more audio cues in endgame that you can pay attention to. Mongraal notices this guy is editing, right? How do I know he's editing? His pencil is raised. Okay, so this guy's in the edit mode and he's looking to make a play on Mongraal. However, Mongraal has his spaz out, right? He has his spaz out and he's looking back at this opponent, so he's probably cross-hairing. This guy is a really good player, I can tell right now, just because of the fact that he's paying attention to Mongraal's body language. Basically, he knows that Mongraal's aware. Mongraal's completely aware of this guy's location, and so because of that, this guy actually ends up not editing, right? Mongraal, knowing that this guy's about to edit, goes for a pre-fire and doesn't get it, because the other guy's smart enough to not edit. But had that guy edited, he probably would have died right then and there. Basically, in this situation, what's happening is like both players are aware of each other. In that case, it is not a good play for either player to continue fighting. You would much rather just like pause that fight and then like look for someone else that is probably unaware, because then it's gonna be way harder for them to trade back and I would be less at risk of dying. Does that make sense? Mongraal's super good at understanding what builds are placed and what builds are not placed. His reaction to place this wall is super good, because like it is actually kind of difficult to realize that this wall is like a placeable wall. right? You need to like have that good game sense. He like realizes and flicks and places that wall. He just has a really good understanding of like the grid and understanding what builds are missing in those grid spots. Looks out here. It's really important to look, right? You need to always look. That's how you get awareness. The best awareness is visual. You need to actually like look in that direction. So he looks, clears it. Someone could be sitting right here possibly, but so that's a worry. Honestly, I would have backward stared. A better sequence is to place a ramp like this, so you just don't have to deal with that doorway at all. Yeah, blocks his back off eventually anyways. Really good. I think at this point you just don't hear any footsteps on low ground. Just from paying attention to the audio, you can pretty much tell that low ground is pretty clear. Most people are on the second or third layer at this point. Mongraal realizes he hears 2 shotgun shots above him on the second layer. Realizes this is a really good third-party opportunity because 2 people are fighting each other. Something to note is this shot is pretty hard to hit. You can only see the guy's head. That's really good. That Mongraal actually hits the shot. That's not a easy shot to hit. Hits that shot, hits 64 white, and gets the kill. Really good. Notices one more guy coming in. Kills him right before that stairs place, which is really good. But some detail that I want you guys to understand and notice is that Mongraal's instinct as he gets into this engagement is placed this wall right here. You guys see this? The wall he just placed. That's super important because of the fact that if, let's suppose for 1 second that Mongraal does not kill this guy. Let's say his shot hits the stair and he doesn't get any damage whatsoever. Whoever owns the stair will most likely win the fight right away. And the fact that Mongraal processes so quick is super good because whoever owns the stair can then edit out like this, right? Mongraal in this case would edit out like that and run out. The enemy would just be sitting out here like this, but Mongraal would then get out in front of zone, and obviously he would have the advantage because he's ahead of zone compared to the other guy, and he's going to be looking backwards into storm while this guy tries to spray out. He's going to try to break the wall by ARing it or pickaxing it or whatever, but Mongraal's going to be sitting right here, right, and he's just going to pre-fire him through the wall that he placed. And so technically in this situation, it's just like pretty much whoever gets this one wall is just going to win the fight because then they can go ahead and look back. And Mongraal's so ready, even though he kills him, he's so ready for that secondary outcome, right? Mongraal gets 70 damage on the opponent. The opponent also hits Mongraal back. So at this point, both players are 1 HP. They're both 1-shot range. So this is actually very dangerous. Most likely, whoever hits the next shot will just win. You guys have probably seen this play, but basically what Mongraal does is he understands that this guy knows where he is, right? And is also crosshair placing Mongraal. Like Mongraal is so aware that this guy knows where he is because he just shot him, right? It's pretty natural to understand that this enemy is just looking at you, right? And so if this guy's looking at you, he's probably just gonna react and shoot as soon as he sees an edit. And so Mongraal uses this, baits the enemy completely, edits the stair, and resets it as fast as possible. And what that does is Mongraal catches the shot. He basically blocks the shot and then use that really small timing to shoot the enemy back. Super good. It's such a good play. But the biggest thing that Mongraal does is that he moves to the left.
I'm so fucking good.
He moves off to the left, and this is really important because in the case that Mongraal misses his shot, he's just putting himself out of line of sight from this guy. He just gets out of the way.
I'm so fucking good.
Really good.
Oh my fuck! You just got baited so hard, kid.
He's freaking out.
That's no one would ever do that except for me. Okay, chill.
Yeah, it's a top 5 situation. He has 4 enemies left to deal with. He's sort of healing up, getting back to a decent amount of HP. Pops a mini, pops a bandy cannon, and then goes ahead. Mongraal's looking up, trades this guy down, cracks him, right? So if he cracks him, it's a 180 HP versus a 180 HP versus a, let's say, 80 HP. So this is a good fight to take from Mongraal. He should totally take this fight. This is a good fight. Sprays the enemy, gets him down, and wins that fight. Picks up the flopper off the guy's loot, good awareness there. And then uses all the Benny cannons. Something you note, the enemy is actually using Benny cannons when Mongraal's out. Mongraal does, you know, full HP heal, has no more white heals left at this point, but he still hears the enemy healing. So what does that mean? Is that means that Mongraal is on 50 white HP versus a 100, pretty much 100 white HP guy, right? You can pretty much assume this. That's just like the sense that I'm getting. So in that case, if nothing happens, he's gonna die first. So what does this mean? Mongraal's win condition here is to go fight the guy as fast as possible. Don't stop for anything. He needs to go fight right now. He's gonna lose. And so he rushes it, takes no time, and wins the game.
Oh my god! That's gotta be one of the most insane games I've seen! Oh my fucking god! No! That has to be one of the best games in Fortnite history! I swear on anything! What the f—
If you guys learned anything new or enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing, and I'll catch you guys next time. Thank you.